on.
Now, say I go get a mug, but it's live.
Wow, what happened? All right, very good. Welcome to the show. Cheers to everyone. There's our friend Alvin on board. Cheers to everybody. And as always, I like to tell everybody what shot I'm drinking tonight. Happens to be Goslin's Black Seal. We always the Bermuda Black Rum. It's good. It's stiff. Makes a good stark and stormy, though, I can tell you that. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Howdy, pirate peeps. I hope I don't have to smack anybody tonight. Well, Adam, if you can find them, smack them. All right. So here we are. We'll do a quick introduction, and then we'll talk a little bit more. But this is my good friend, Alvin Brumfeld. We've known each other for quite a few years. He is the man that has control of the Louisiana Renaissance Festival and of recent, from last year and this year, the Louisiana Pirate Festival, known as the Pirates of Pontchartrain. Alvin, say hello to everybody real quick.
Good day, everybody. Good day.
Good. Now, we have a few things we want to bring up, the things we always do right away. So for first, let's go with the quote of the week. Mr. Longwood, what's our quote of the week? You got the makings of greatness in you, but you got to take the helm and chart your own course, as said by Long John Silver in Treasure Planet. That's a good one. That pertains to just about anybody. Take your wheel and do your job. And of course, we always have a question of the week that we throw out there, and we hope that people will throw something in on it. Here's the question of the week. What is your favorite part? Just so happens it fits with what we're doing tonight. What's your... Hey, my camera's been drinking. Hold on a minute.
Did Will come to your room?
All right. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Technical difficulties, don't we love it? Little better. There we go. All right, technical difficulties. Makes it look like I'm on a slant, but maybe the ship's on a slant. Anyway, our question of the week. Favorite part of a Ren festival or a pirate festival? You can be, all our viewers can be throwing in their answers there. We'll be watching along for it and see what we have going on. Let's see. So, always next on our list, we always like to talk about the crew adventures. We have a picture that shows everything we're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we just finished the Spring Festival this past weekend. The June 18th Midsummer Nights Gala, at this point right now, could very well be on hold. We'll have more ideas within the next 2 weeks. We are working on the St. Augustine Rum Festival for the summer of 2022, which will actually be, ladies and gentlemen, in August. There's the Pirates of Pontchartrain logo. I was there last year. I can't go this year, and I'm really torn up about it a bit, really, because I enjoyed myself so much, and we're going to be talking about that. But we still support anybody that is part of our little online family. So there it is right there. And of course, our Christmas Village, our Halloween Village, and our Pirate Podcast every Monday night at 8 o'clock. As other events pop up on our calendar, we'll be sharing them along with this is all the crew at St. Augustine Swashbucklers. And that's 2022, ladies and gentlemen. It's so far been a very good year. In fact, this last weekend, we did the Lions Club Spring Festival used to be known as the Seafood Festival, which the St. Augustine Swashbucklers had done for about 7 years, give or take. COVID hit. We hadn't done it for 2 years. They came back and they now call it the Spring Fest. It was a lot of fun. We had half of our pirates out there doing games for all the kids. Every kid won. Here's something interesting for you. When we set it all up, we planned on 300 to 350 prizes for the children, and every kid won no matter what. It was too easy. We made it that way. By the end of Saturday night, we had no prizes left. We gave away 300 to 350 prizes by Saturday night. We had to scramble to come up with new prizes for all day on Sunday, which we did. We did a good job. By estimation, I believe we gave pirate booty, toys, and coins, and whatever else we could come up with to about 550 to 650 children in 2 days. It was a lot of fun. And of course, I did a couple of magic shows, and it was quite tiring also. There's my best side. There it is, me doing a magic show out there, and there's some of the crew there. Man in the games. Oh, there's our powder monkey. He was quite the hit. And there's a couple of us sitting there. Let's see, Tinker and Annette and Mark sitting there with our pirate museum. Up there's Captain Mayhem standing there looking all proud with some of our friends. And it was a good weekend, a much well-earned weekend for the money we made. There's me doing rope tricks, my favorite stuff. And let's see, there's Mark and Mr. Longwood himself. Our axe throwing game. Yes, we have a kid's version of axe throwing. That looks like Melinda's trying to actually do a juggling act instead of throwing the axes. And there's us standing in the museum again. We had 3 tents. There's the powder monkey sneaking up on Miss Vicky. Look at that. That's what it's all about. The little princess right there. And there you go. Thank you very much. Towards the end of the day on Sunday, I had to sit down. I just couldn't go any further. And yes, that's not fake. I fell asleep. I slept for about 40 minutes, I'm pretty sure. And I thank you very much, Mr. Longwood, for showing that one off. Very good. Let's get rid of that hat. It's too warm in here tonight. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We had a very good weekend. The crew actually earned about $1,500 doing games and donations and having a good time. And that $1,500 goes towards the charities that we do. All in all, this whole month with the Celtic Festival and the Spring Fest, the pirate crew has earned in earnings right around $2,600, $2,700. That's pretty good for 1 month's worth of work. Favorite part is visiting friends. Good point, Zachary Harker. Like that one, very good. The music, the food, and wenches are my favorite. That's because you can hear the music, taste the food, and feel the wenches. And Alvin, just so you know, Adam is part of our crew and has a problem with his vision. We'll just leave it at that for now. I enjoy the music, and he's a good sport about it, and he really is a good integral member of our crew. I brag about him to everybody. Christy Thomas enjoys the music and the magic, of course. There really isn't any more magical place than a Ren Fair or a Pirate Festival. That's a good point. And that brings us to our guest of honor here, Mr. Alvin. And we've been friends. So you're co-owner of the Louisiana Renaissance Festival, correct?
Yes.
Yes. You don't get the whole pie.
Oh.
No.
But I bet you get most of the headaches.
Yeah, well, I'm CEO and 50% owner, so yeah, I get my share of the headaches, that's for sure.
So we've been friends, and you corrected me earlier when we were doing a pre-show. We've been friends since 1993. We were both stationed at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base out in Tucson, Arizona.
Yes.
So that's 29 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And neither one of us look old enough to have done that.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Yeah.
I don't either.
Zane Grey effect or something. I don't know.
During pre-show, I brought up something to Alvin, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I do remember that. We did a show together because Alvin is a magician also, and you do juggling too, right?"
Not really. No.
No. So Alvin set up a show. I don't remember hardly any of the particulars of this, and I'm sure Alvin, if you remember, you can correct me. But it was an old church in St. Augustine, in Tucson, Arizona, that had been converted into a a place to do shows and theater. And it had 2 stages, remember?
Yeah, it was. Some of the other venues had gone away, and they had the big theater that they did all the big productions in. And well, we needed a little venue, and the church was like right down the street from it or something, a couple blocks away, and it was perfect. You know, our regular venue had shut down or gone dark for some reason.
If I remember right, too, because it had 2 stages, and I think as a church, that secondary stage, the small one that was to the right, that was probably where the choir sat. And so you had 2 stages. So when you had one performance going on, the other performers were getting ready on the other stage, and you just, if I remember right, we tag team across the stages, didn't we?
Yeah, well, it had a pretty big behind the scenes. I mean, the stage itself was huge. I'm not sure why. You're making me scratch my cranium here, figuring out I don't remember all this.
Yeah, it's the things us old guys remember at times. That's all it is. I remember it as being a fun night. I don't remember if we had a great crowd or not, but I do remember that anytime we did a show, we didn't care if the crowd was good back then. We just wanted to do a show and be on stage.
Yeah, well, like I said, the other stage had gone away temporarily, and we were looking for a place, and I think everybody was happy to have a place to perform again. So
yeah,
that was
very
awesome.
much so. So you started the Louisiana Pirate Renaissance Festival in what year?
2000. We opened the first year in 2000.
So, and the first couple of years, and you can admit how many if you want, but the first couple of years, and we had parts of these conversations when I was visiting and being a part of your Pirate Festival last year, but the first couple of years of the Ren Festival were not exactly profitable and gave you the confidence that it was going to work, right?
Well, that's true. We were anticipating it going about 7 or 8 years before it hits a natural bubble. That's what a lot of them do. Ours took like 15 years. But we hung in there. Things seem to happen slower in the Louisiana South, but when they usually come around, they come around okay. So,
and how much acreage do you have for the Pirate Festival? I mean, for the Renaissance Festival, which is also the Pirate Festival.
Well, the public area is about 16 acres. Altogether, we have 100 acres. A lot of swamp around us, more or less.
Can you see that map there?
Oh, yeah.
So that map is an artist rendering of what they do for the festival. And yes, that lake is really there. That is, I just noticed that lake kind of looks like a big whale.
Huh. There it is.
It looks like a whale. And if you look at the bottom corner of the whale's tail, that's about where I was camped last year.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. So
everyone said that wooden fenced area that was makes up about 16 acres. Wow. So 16 acres for the public to wander around. If you're not sure what an acre is, 1 acre is about a football field with the end zones.
Yeah, very much so. So it's done well though, and when I brag about you and tell people, I always tell people that the Louisiana Renaissance Festival is at least in the top 10, if not the top 5 Ren festivals in the country. Is that true, or do I get caught as a liar now?
Well, depends on how you consider top. I'd like to think quality. We're there. We're there.
You have great acts.
There are some bigger shows, but we control that a little bit to help make sure that each performer and each merchant does well. Because if you have too many merchants, people are only going to spend so much. At some point, they're going to quit spending money.
Right.
So if you have too many merchants, basically they make less per merchant. If you have too few, people don't have enough stuff to shop for. So
right.
And we always try to find people who actually make their goods that they sell, because we want to support those artisans and the crafters that are out there. And it's getting harder and harder to find an artist that can actually have enough product to sell for 6 weekends, especially if it's out of state and they have to commute and all that stuff. So it's getting harder and harder to find people who make the stuff they sell. Yeah.
So the craftsman part of it is falling by the wayside, like a lot of other things in this country is doing.
Yeah, I mean, we would always prefer a crafter who makes a sword rather than some cheap knockoff from China. But it's harder and harder to find people who actually make enough product to sustain 6 weekends of product sales.
Right.
because people tend to be a hobbyist. You think about people that do like ceramics and stuff. They make a few pots for around the house and stuff, but I say, hey, we're going to sell for 6 weekends. It's now kind of moving out of the hobby into closer to an occupation, but not a career.
Right.
There's just it's hard to find people in that little sweet spot, so to speak.
I'm finding a similar situation with me. All of a sudden, I've kind of looked back on all the magic shows I'm doing, and I'm still doing some of the same tricks that I've been doing for many, many years, and with not enough free time on my hand to work on new routines or practice new things. The only thing that makes it for me, as opposed to a craftsman, is since everything I do is improv and based on the way the audience is responding, sometimes the same trick can be a different trick to different audiences.
Or given enough time.
Yeah, or given enough time, maybe you get a different audience anyway. So, yeah, what's your average attendance for the Louisiana Renaissance Festival? You do it for 6 weekends.
Yes, over 6 weekends we get 50,000 people, which we think is pretty good. There's a lot of shows that get that much in a day, like the Houston Fair. It's getting more than that in a single day. But we're not trying to compete with them on numbers. We're trying to compete on a quality basis, like you talk about, not have too much stuff. And they got Houston audience. I mean, they just have more people. That's just what
you're in Hammond, Louisiana. You're not exactly in a heavily populated part of Louisiana, though, are you?
No, not at all.
No, so there's a difference there. And anybody that wants to come, but where you're at in Hammond, Louisiana, let's see. I'm trying to remember when we drove over there. You're north of I-10 by about a dozen miles.
Well, I-10 goes, of course, from East Coast to West Coast. But when you go to New Orleans, I-10 takes this big loop going down south to go through New Orleans.
Right.
If you keep going straight, there's an I-12 that goes from I-10 to I-10 because it doesn't go through that New Orleans loop. And yeah, we're about 3 miles north of that I-12.
Okay. All right. It's a great area. We had a great time. My friend Leon was with me last year, and we did it for the 2 weekends you did it for last year, the Pirate Festival. And we stayed for the week in between. It was a very wet week. It was a very wet week, but we enjoyed Hammond, Louisiana, and the beer and taco place. I think we ate in the beer and taco place 4 times in that whole 10 days we were there. It's
a restaurant called Tacos and Beer.
Tacos and Beer, that's it. Tacos and Beer, and it was good. It really was. We ate in the we had the sushi on the special night. That wasn't bad. It was well worth it. But the people there that we ran into, and you know what? It's terrible. I can't remember names. What's the diner that we met you our first day there to have lunch with you before we got started? What was the name of the diner? I caught you too, didn't I?
Caught me too. Can't remember where it was. It was either Salty Joe's or maybe Yellowbird. I'm not sure where we
Yellowbird.
Or it could have been Jeannie's.
Jeannie's. It was Jeannie's. It was Jeannie's.
Jeannie's. Oh, yeah, that's a local place for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good time there. They were really nice, and we had a couple of breakfasts there. So yeah, the Hammond, Louisiana is a great place to go visit. And there's history there too.
And we're about 45 minutes north of New Orleans. So if you don't party enough all day long, well, you can go down to New Orleans.
Well, we went to New Orleans in the middle of the week when we were there. Leon and I did, and I got to be honest with you, it was my first time in New Orleans in way over 30 years, and I wasn't really impressed with New Orleans, and I think mostly because the attitude was still very COVID captured. Very COVID captured, because I try very hard not to make this podcast anything political in any way, shape, or form. So I'll just leave it at that. How's that sound?
Well, I'll defend the mayor a little bit. I don't like the mayor, but she has a large populace that's very susceptible to the COVID, and she was trying to be overly cautious for people that were basically a higher percentage of her populace are susceptible to COVID compared to the mainstream America. So I think in her heart, she was trying to do the right thing. That's about as nice as I can get for it.
And that's fine. We'll leave it at that, so we don't have to worry about it. So tell us some of the greatest acts you've had for the Ren Fair.
Oh.
Catch you off guard on that one?
Well, when you produce an event, you've got what I call your hooks. We always talk about the joust. Come see the joust. People know what it is. They've never seen one, so they want to come see it. They're going to come. They're going to see it. They're going to get exactly what they expect. We spice it up a little bit with the flips off the horse and stuff, and some crazy, wrestling moves, so to speak. But for the most part, it's a joust. It was something that was extremely fascinating in the 1500s that in today's fast-paced world doesn't quite clamor to. So we put the joust at the back of the festival. So everybody goes in, they walk past everything to see the joust, and then they have to walk past everything to get back out. But what works is they fall in love with everything else.
Right.
Because when we do surveys, we're like, what did you like most? What did you enjoy most? And it's always some form of the everything or the ambiance, or, occasionally it's the beer or the food. But it is one of the advantages we have in Louisiana is it does tend to have pretty good food in South Louisiana. So we benefit from that. And the general hospitality, the people of our area don't really realize that, hey, they're pretty nice because everybody's that way.
Yeah.
It might not be the guy you meet on the corner, but, overall.
No, I was every experience we had with the people, both at the fair, both attendees and the people that you had that were vendors or restaurateurs or performers. I have not one bad story to tell about anybody, nothing at all. There were only 2 bad points to the whole. We were there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. Only 2 points that were bad. One, there was a hell of a lot of rain. But you know what? When you're camping out, hey, we're pirates. It's rain.
Yeah, I don't know if you grabbed one of those flood photos, but that could be funny. Yeah, we had one of those stages, and the water came up to like 2 inches to the stage.
Yeah.
And the band was like, yeah, we'll play anyway. It's like, well, we've got to. So we took these benches and we built like a gangplank walking to the stage so they could get on the stage. And then the water came up some more, and it's like, well, I can back a trailer up. You can walk to it that way. And then it was like, well, we're okay with hopping in a P row, but we can't get the equipment over there in a P row. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're going to have to move this band to another night.
Yeah. And that's your jousting field during the Renaissance Festival. If you could figure a way to get some giant seahorses, you'd have it made.
That's true. Oh, well, we're adding mermaids to the show this year, so you're going to miss that, Bill.
Oh, darn. I wonder if there's any mermaids that I know. I know so many at times. So Adam Lemon said they would love to play that fair one day. We actually talked to Alvin, those that are watching, we actually talked to Alvin about bringing pretty good contingency of Florida Pirates over there for an encampment. Because between Leon and a couple of the other pirates that I know, we might have enough period correct tents to create an encampment of anywhere from 3 to 7 tents and have a good show of it. So that's something we can talk about for sure in the future. Were there vendors selling pirate garb?
Well, we had vendors selling garb. I don't remember how much of it was pirate, because
I don't think it was specific. I don't think anything was specifically pirate, because this was your first year. You had to reach into your gene pool of everything from your Renaissance Festival to really work with it.
Yeah, one of the things that we were trying to get more pirate gear there, and they're like, "Well, it's a first year fair. Let's just give it a couple of years and see how it works. If it's good, then we'll bring our pirate gear." And it's like, we got to get a couple of years under our belt somehow or another. And
yeah, it's kind of a catch-22, isn't it?
How do you get a job without experience? How do you get experience without a job?
Yeah, it's the same thing. The food was great. The people were great. We had our own encampment, and we were cooking food there and sharing it with anybody that wanted to. And then we had a couple of bottles of rum that we would share in the evenings with people. So it was a lot of fun. David, you got the picture, well, there's that wasn't the one I was looking at, but that's a good one. How about the one of the outside of the beaded badger? Nope, that's not it. But that's a good picture. Look at that. That's a gorgeous picture of the lake and some of the buildings that are all around the lake. That's a really great picture.
Okay, you want the outside first?
Yeah, so if you can.
Hey, how are you? Here's the other stage. This road just takes you out to a parking lot. So we're going back the way we came now. Back to that crossroads to go back to the lake.
And then you want the inside?
That was.
So this is the inside of the Beaver Bar. We're on the other side of the door. It's not open right now. But I thought I'd come up here and then do spin. Beaver Bar, not Beaver Bar. Painted Badger. There's the bar. Pretty good sized bar. They have 4 or 5 auto winches through here. There's the stage. Good sized stage. Tables. Because of social distancing, they've had to spread them out a bit. But this is where we performed all weekend. 4 shows on Saturday, 4 shows on Sunday. Sound system in that back little curtained area. And it was quite nice.
There, that was the inside. That's where you guys had me. That was a great venue. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. You worked me to death, but I had a good time.
Well, I gave you the only stage we have with a roof. I mean,
you know what? I'm not complaining. I really am not. I had a good time, and you had me on stage with
Raven?
the minstrel. Yeah,
Mitchell Raven.
and he was really good, and he was really easy to work with. That was really cool. And it's at times that room, that bar filled up. What a great venue for a festival. Yes, Nightingale, it's a wonderful venue. The lake and everything else. It's really, and when you're walking it from where our tent was over to the bar and back again, and I would do the show and then walk back down to make sure Leon was okay, and then I'd walk back up again and then walk back down. I put in some mileage.
Yeah, you had to walk past the living history section every day.
Yep.
We got a whole section of the festival we set aside where we don't let vendors in to sell stuff. It's just people doing demonstrations, whether it's cooking, baking, candlestick making, literally,
Yep.
and things of that nature for that educational side of things. And people always think that's neat that there's a whole little section here where nothing's for sale.
Yeah, and it's a great setup. It really is. It's a wonderful setup. And the Pirate Festival, even though there was touches of the Renaissance Festival, which, like I said, you kind of had to dip into the bucket of what you had from the Renaissance Festival to help you support this new idea for the Renaissance or the Pirate Festival. There's Mr. Alvin right there with that. That could have been Teague himself. I'll tell you what. That was a good pirate outfit that man had. And he came and watched my show a time or two. It was a pleasure to get to know him. What else do you got there? There's Alvin.
Yep.
We just tried to find any pictures that we had of you. Now tell me about this guy. He was entertaining, and boy was he costumed out. And he had a woman with him who was really costumed out.
Yep, him and his girlfriend, wife. They have a pirate shop and they sell pirate goods. They sell all kind of stuff. They call themselves the Pirate King and Queen. And they're dressed out to the nines. You can't walk by them without them talking to you. And
they'll call out anybody walking by. They called me out every time I walk past them. Every time. And then you have Miss Pirates of Pontchartrain.
Yeah, in the spirit of Louisiana festivals, we decided for this one to have the regular beauty pageant queen, mostly because somebody said, "Hey, you mind if we do this?" I'm like, "Well, what's it going to cost me?" They said nothing. I'm like, "Okay."
That's the best price, isn't it?
So we have a Pirate of the Pontchartrain queen, and the only thing it cost us was a space to do it. That was it. We didn't have.
No, she was fun and she was very personable. I got a chance to talk to her a time or two also.
So and the way those pageants work, she's queen for years. She's been visiting all these festivals all year long, representing us and getting the word out there. And I'm like, that is pretty awesome. And it doesn't cost anything. They do that on their own, you know.
Absolutely. That's a good thing.
That place looks awesome in this picture.
What's that?
This looks like an awesome place to.
Yeah, this is
It
the
is.
area that Bill had to walk past every day to work.
The spot this picture is being taken from is about the spot. Actually, I think it's on in between the stage that's on this side of the lake and where our encampment was.
Yeah, it's like right next to your camp where it was.
Yep. And that's where I had to. And if you look at the last roof underneath the trees there,
Yeah,
if
white
I remember, that's the Badger, is it not, Alvin?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had to walk all the way around that way and up the hill because it was an uphill, and that downhill was a little easier. But
where all those people are standing is where the cook and the baker are. So when you go by, you can usually get something to snack on as you go by. I don't know if Bill partook of that or not.
So it's a great setup. The lake is pretty at night when we were there and there was nobody there. We're listening to the frogs and the fish jumping, and in the morning the mist off the lake and the ducks and the geese. You've got a great piece of property there. It really is wonderful there. Now, you had problems a couple of years ago when one of the big hurricanes came in, right?
Oh yeah. We had some flooding.
Yeah.
We get a few trees every once in a while, but the flooding where these see the 2-story building there, it was touching the floor of that building. So basically, your first floor was underwater. It was just the second floors that were unscathed.
Wow, very cool. So, what made you decide to? I never got one of those. I forgot to get one. If you got a spare one, let me know.
Absolutely, anything for Captain Mayhem.
So what made you decide to do a pirate festival, other than the fact that I probably had talked to you on and off for several years about trying to do one? What really kicked you into gear doing it?
Well, there was a couple of things came together on it.
Oh, wait, let's say this. There's your lovely wife.
Oh, yes.
Your better half.
There she is. Yes.
Very good. Okay, go ahead, Alvin. Go ahead.
My queen. So we do themes for the Renaissance Festival. We're 6 weekends, so we'll declare a theme, and some of them was fireworks, and then actually somebody else started. The guy that runs the forge started. I said, "You mind if we take up a collection among merchants and shoot off some fireworks?" Sure, go ahead. And then it got to be a pretty big show. I said, "All right, well, we'll chip in too. Sure, why not? We're the festival." And then it got to be more and more fireworks. More and more people were chipping in. They liked that, and we were buying the fireworks from the fireworks place because there's a wholesale place. And they said, "You got a permit for all this?" And he goes, "That's over the counter stuff." He goes, "Yeah, but the volume you're shooting, you need a permit for that." We're like, "Oh." They're like, "Well, how do you do that?" And they said, "We got to go to talk to the fire marshal and get permission and do this and do that and the other." We were buying this like 2 or 3 weeks before we were going to shoot them off. And I said, "Well, it takes a month or two to get that fire permit." And we're like, "Oh, really?" Fortunately, we're nice to everybody, so we were able to get that expedited because the fire marshal likes us, at least at the time.
You're a hometown boy. Hammond, Louisiana is your home, right?
Yes.
So you have family that go back quite a ways.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, because I remember when I needed to go pick up some firewood, and I went down and picked up some firewood and told them I was attached to the Pirate Festival. And they started telling me stories about your dad.
Oh, well, sorry. My dad's 92. He'll be turning 93 this year, and he still drives and gets around on his own. So I hope I'm in that kind of shape when I'm 93.
God love him. God love him. So
we were telling you about the different themes. And one of the themes, we were just picking themes at random to begin with. And one of them was pirate. Well, pirate, we have a lot of pirates show up. And so for the fireworks, we'll pump in, couple $1,000s to get the fireworks show going. With a pirate thing, we say we just declared it pirate. A whole bunch of pirates showed up. And it's like, we didn't do anything for that, but say it's Pirate Week and invite everybody, and pirates showed up. So with the COVID year coming, we didn't know if we were going to get to open that year with the Renaissance Festival or not. But we've got a land note, we have insurance, we have bills we have to pay whether or not we open or not. So my business partner was like, "Well, let's do a pirate festival in the spring in case we can't open the Renaissance Festival, we'll open the Pirate Festival." I'm like, "All right." And then we got to open, and I kind of forgot all about it. And he's like, "Well, we have a Pirate Festival in 4 months once we close the festival down." I'm like, "Wait, you're still doing that?" So we scrambled. But fortunately, like you said, we know a lot of merchants. We knew a lot of pirates. We have the infrastructure. We have parking. We have the insurance covered already. So we had a leg up to a lot of places that decide to just open up a festival. They don't have background knowledge. And there's always a ton of things that you just don't know how to do. until you do it. And it's like, well, how many porta potties you need to get? And you're like, oh, I don't know. If you get too many, it's just a waste of money. You don't get enough, then well, you're gonna have a negative side of that. It's not
Right.
me.
That's us.
I'm not
People-
so
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
that's kind of how we got to the pirate. That was kind of the most popular theme that we had, and we also had the most people saying, "Hey, open a pirate festival! Open a pirate festival!" You know, had Mayhem over in Florida doing it, and people around here. That guy with the big hat you saw earlier, he was doing it. A lot of people wanted the pirate, so we felt, hey, path of least resistance. We want to open a few more festivals throughout the year. Let's do the one that everybody wants. You know, it makes sense to support that.
Well, at least last year, even in 2 weekends, it at least was successful enough for you to decide to keep on going, right?
No. Well, because of the rain.
Yeah.
It's going to hit us this year. The rain hit us hard. Plus, it was still the tail end of COVID. So everybody wasn't sure whether they want to come out. And the thing that really got us, though, was the concerts. So the pirate part wasn't bad, which is why we're bringing that part back. But last year when we did it, we were 2 weekends, and each Saturday we had these bands come in, the local bands that had a big draw. And, you know, you pump in another 10 grand to your expense to bring in these bigger bands, and well, that eats. Plus,
Yeah,
you have
does,
to,
especially if their followers don't show up.
and I think they would have had it not been COVID. Everybody's like, well, I don't know where this is going, you know.
Well, you did have that going against you. I also, and I think I told you this, I also think that if you're going to do a pirate festival, you really, even if you're going to do concerts, if you're going to do at least one of the 2 nights of a weekend, you really should look at some of the actual real pirate bands that some of those people have never seen, and they probably like them. And you bring in a good pirate band, and there are some really good ones that are nationwide. They have CDs out, and they're doing really well. I work with at least 2 full bands now, and then I have quite a few other not local. That's not the word I want to use. Solo type acts or duo acts, and you fill the stage with a grand group of pirate singing that sticks with your theme. And I wouldn't suggest that you do it both nights, but if you do it at least one night, you may bring in clientele, especially depending on your advertising. You may bring in some people that would be curious, especially if they know that, for example, one of the bands, I'm not going to name them at this point right now, but one of the bands that I've used, they've done festivals all the way over into England, Ireland, and Scotland. So they're world renowned. They're international.
I agree with. We looked into it and ran into a couple of problems. Some were booked. Some weren't going to take the risk with COVID. They didn't know where it's going. They just do it. We had 1 or 2 booked, and then one of their band members got COVID, so then they canceled. We even looked at in our research. We even looked at some of the ones over in England and Scotland. It's like, oh, they can't get here.
Yeah, COVID is probably take COVID and the monetary that you put into the concerts for the both weekends. Those are probably your 2 biggest downfalls, if we're going to be honest about the good and the bad and the ugly about it. But it's there lessons learned. If you're running, I mean, I've done Old City Pirate Festival here for 4 years. We haven't done it the last 2 years because of COVID, and we're looking at some changes for it in 2023 to make it even different. Not necessarily a pirate festival, so to speak, but a pirate con that becomes more of not an entertainment, but an educational weekend. So you always try to adapt and change things to try to work it out. You got a great event. You got a fantastic venue. That's the fun part. And I had a good time. I really was disappointed that I couldn't come out for this year. But the biggest reason is because here in Florida, 4th graders begin learning American history, starting with Florida's American history in the 1500s. So every 4th grade elementary class in the entire state comes to St. Augustine for their 4th grade field trip. Well, 2 years ago, we didn't get those 4th graders. And a year ago, we didn't get those 4th graders. This year, we're getting the 4th graders. We're getting the 4th graders that are now 5th graders, and we're getting the 4th graders that are now 6th graders. So we're getting 3 times as many school tours.
That's great.
It is great. I mean, it's killing us.
That's great for you.
Yeah, it's killing us tour guides because we're doing. I think I've got just my schedule alone for the museum, I have 24 or 26 tours for this week. And I didn't work today, but that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday, 5 days, because we have some schools that are coming on the weekends now. And that's not just me. I have 3 other pilots that work with me, and they're all doing about the same. So it's as you know, in the entertainment business, it's feast or famine. And we're right now in a huge gluttonous feast.
Well, we're hoping to get enough pirates to keep this going, because when you start an event, you really have to go 2 or 3 years before you know if it's actually going to work. Because your first year, it's all advertising. You can promise the moon and people will show up. They only show up the second year if you delivered or that they're happy with it.
Right.
And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 years before you really know, unless the numbers are just that bad or just that good.
There's a few pirates here on the list that are chiming in on this for our night tonight. One of them is my own other half, my better half, and she says when I go back, so that means I get to go back. She'd like to come out and she says the whole place looks beautiful. So I guess maybe we'll talk about 2023 and see what happens.
I'd love to meet her.
Right, and I'd love to bring her out there and share that with her, and it would be a lot of fun. So you're doing it only one weekend this year, right? David, go ahead and put the banner up at the bottom to let everybody know how to get onto their website one more time. So you're doing it only one weekend this year, correct?
Yes, we're doing it one weekend. Basically, we had to take away some of the risk of loss and what can we afford to lose. So we had to go down to one weekend. Plus, with COVID ending, there's a whole bunch of other events popping up all over the place, both locally as well. You know, if you want to get merchants, you want to get entertainers, you have to be sensitive to, well, where are the merchants coming from? What other things can they be doing?
Right.
If you want to get good merchants, you got to be sensitive to that. You want entertainers, you got to be paying. And then, of course, then there's the local things. Like the weekend after the Pirate Festival is the largest free festival in the state of Louisiana, happens 20 miles down the road. So we didn't figure we wanted to go up square against them, although we thought about it because we're different.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great venue, and I hope it goes on and on and on, because I'd like to get more involved and be a part of it again, because that gives me the Louisiana Renaissance Festival, the Panama City Beach Pirate Festival, and then the St. Augustine Pirate Festival. And that's 3 pirate festivals in a year at my age is probably just enough for me.
I have a question for Alvin.
Go ahead, Mr. Longwood.
That property is so big. How does security work for it?
Actually, the very first year we had a lot of security issues, but then we kind of got those worked out because it was so new. Actually, it's not that bad. We do have security gate go coming into and off the property. You know, we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no sidewalk or anything for people to walk up. You have to drive there. There's a little electric gate. If you don't have a pass, the gate won't open for you. And that alone gets rid of most of it. We have a security guy, and if you have a problem, they'll go out and check on it. But we found that most people actually get along pretty well with other people.
Yeah.
When you have especially when you like us, it's a pay festival. So I mean, I don't care if you charge $1 or 50 cents. It doesn't matter. You get rid of 90% of your problems just because it's not completely free. Most people feel some obligation to it. It's kind of like with the trash. If we keep the place picked up, people feel guilty about throwing trash in the ground. They'll go over to the trash can and put it in the trash can. But if you go to New Orleans, like Mardi Gras or something, there's trash everywhere. It's like, I don't even know where the trash can is. You don't feel guilty about throwing it on the ground. So, because we don't have security issues and we don't have trash problems, it tends to just stay that way.
Yeah, you have a great ambiance, might be the word, aura would be another word, but the overall property is fantastic. Somebody that's on our thing here, our Facebook user, they just popped in about what we were talking about the Pirate Museum and all our tours, and they said that they let us know we had almost 100 students that did the Pirate Museum on Friday on their own, because there were no pirates. We didn't have enough pirates to do a tour for them. They did it on their own, and that's 100 students. And they enjoyed themselves immensely. We're getting to that point that sometimes we can't. And there's a couple of times where we've got 2 tours from the same school, and they come in and they're 15 minutes apart. And sometimes the one coming in on the hour is a few minutes late, and the one coming in on the quarter after the hour is a few minutes early. I combine them, and I end up doing 2 tours in one. and I'm taking 45 to 60 kids through the museum on one tour. It's nerve-wracking, but as often is said by many of the teachers, hey, can you come to our school and help us with our discipline problem?
Well, I don't know if there's anybody helping you, Bill. I mean, but I know half the people that I talk to from our area that do they've taken the museum have met you. And it's like, they're like, hey, you went to that museum. Well, who's your guide? And they don't always remember your name, but they remember you. So they're like, well, it was the guy, and they'll describe you. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's him. Either that or they all look like you. I don't know.
It's flattering to have so much recognition from people, pirates from all over the country who have come to St. Augustine. And our Facebook user that's on there made another suggestion for you. Instead of a concert, maybe some kind of a pirate ball would be kind of cool, that all your pirates can dress up in their pirate finest, and you have you find somebody that can spin some pirate DJ music. I know a couple of the pirate balls that I've attended. We even had a few guys and gals that knew how to do certain period correct dancing. And so there was a portion of time, and I used to think that was the dumbest thing in the world, but everybody loves it. And they would spend a few minutes teaching some period correct dancing with period correct music. And I guess since line dancing is really great at country western, why not period correct dancing at a pirate ball? But it's just activities. It's something thrown out to you to think about. That's not my idea. That's one of our watchers right there. That's why we're happy to have so many people watching our show. We get all kinds of great ideas. But think about it. That's something for you to consider.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, you never know. There's no bad ideas. There are just some that take some convincing. I think that's the easiest way to look at it. Very much so. So, Kara Creamer asked how far it is. I'm assuming she's wanting to know how far it is from where we are here in St. Augustine all the way to you. And if I remember right, it was about 11-hour drive.
Well, I think so.
I think it was about 11 hours. We left way early in the morning at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I think we got there to you at about, no, maybe it wasn't 11. It might be about 10 hours.
Oh, Google says it's 8 hours and 21 minutes.
Well, it seemed longer. So there's Nightingale in Florida. A pirate ball would be a great idea. I always like to tell everybody pirates didn't have balls, but in a way, yeah, they did have balls. So, and we'll leave that joke at that.
I'll have to talk to somebody about doing it. I love the idea. I just want to find somebody who's done it, because one of the things I've learned over the years is just because it sounds like a good idea, just because, Captain Mayhem or Davy Longwood can do it without any problem, doesn't mean Alvin can. No,
and you do have to pay attention to the part of the country you're in and what you've got for a venue to make the pirate ball. Thinking about your whole field, your whole location, it might be something that you have to think about for several years down the road to have something really cool. But yeah,
I really like the idea. I just have to explore.
You never know. So we're probably going to go over the hour. If you don't mind staying for a little bit, we're going to go over the hour. So right with you, Mr. Longwood?
Fine with me, Captain.
Because I'm enjoying the conversation, and we're getting some really good ones here, and we're going to go back to the messages here in just a few minutes. Thank you for the Facebook user that said, hey, answer the phone. Somebody's probably calling me about my extended warranty offer on my new pirate ship. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Oh, Kryman. So tell me, what is your favorite part? We'll go to our question of the week. What's your favorite part of your pirate festival, Alvin?
Oh man, it's actually the seeing people happy is really. I mean, it's really the reason we do it. I mean, yeah, we have to make money to do it, but if it was really about the money, we'd have quit this before we went 15 years. Long direction, the day jobs and all that to support it. It really is. It's to see people happy and doing what they want, And with the way we do festivals, it's like everybody's welcome. It might be a pirate festival, but if you want to be a pretty princess, by all means.
You had all kinds dressed up for the pirate festival.
Yep. I don't care if you're a 58-year-old guy. I'm good with it.
Was it your son that was dressed up in all green?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, your kids are wonderful. If they're watching, great. If they're not, you tell them I just.
Oh, that's him.
There he is in all green. Is your daughter in that picture too? I don't see her.
No, she's not.
She's not. There he is in all green, and the hat looks like an acorn shell.
It does. It's actually modeled after. He had a custom made after a pangolin, which is an endangered species of like anteater that has scale mail, kind of like an armadillo, but it's scale mail instead of banded.
Very cool. So see, there's a bunch of pirates right there. It was a good time, and you've got a good thing going. I hope you don't have to wait 15 years to make it work.
I hope so. I hope so too.
Yeah. But I do want to be involved more, and if we could figure a way to get our pirates over there, I guess it's not as far a drive as I thought. We can figure some things out. We'll get over there and be a part of it. We'll put it on our calendar and talk about it for 2023 for sure, and see what we can do. So, Mr. Longwood.
Yes.
We usually have a week in history. Do you want to play that week in history? And Alvin, when this pops up, we get a few minutes where we're muted, so the audience can't see or hear, but enjoy this. Mr. Longwood we do one every week.
All right, we'll talk about them then.
Yeah. A good portion of what this is all about, Alvin. Every week we do a little bit of history here and there. We did something on St. Patrick's Day 2 weeks ago, and last week was all about pets, which is something I want to bring up real quick. We are doing a food drive amongst our pirates and anybody else over here to gather up some extra food for the Humane Society because they're running dangerously low. We started it last week. I have about 200 pounds of pet food in my house right now, and we have until Thursday to collect some more. If you'd like to donate to us, you can donate to our St. Augustine Swashbucklers PayPal account. Go to PayPal and use swashbucklersplunder@yahoo.com, and we'll take that money, every dime of it, and we'll buy food here. And we've had a few people do that. Or if you're in the area and you want to buy up food, go ahead and collect it, and we will be making that donation to the Humane Society either Thursday night or Friday night. And I hope to have several hundred more pounds. We're just about 200. I'd like to be at close to 5 if we can get there in the next 5 days. So join us to help out the Humane Society. It's a good cause. New on the horizon, April 4th. That's next Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, next Monday we're going to do the history of April Fool's Day. Hey, what better than a couple of fools like Mr. Longwood and Mr. Mayhem here to tell you all about April Fool's Day. We'll talk about maybe our favorite jokes we've ever pulled and do a little history of April Fool's Day. Alvin, I'm sure you probably got a few of those up your sleeve.
Well, I think your flag, I'm seeing your pirate flag there, really should be a black skull on a white flag, because I've seen you give away more stuff and more charity to people than you've ever taken from anybody. So, yeah, you might be a pirate, but you seem to do an awful lot of Robin Hood.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And it has shown up. I'll say this. There's been a little negative in the life of Captain Mayhem and his lovely other half, Miss Kara. And that negative came in the fact that we were given a short notice to vacate the house we live in that we've been in for 14 years. And it was a very depressing week to think about and to realize that the cost of housing is so bad that we were not going to be able to find anything we could live in except for the tent that I have in the garage. And it would be me and Miss Cece, our dog, and our 3 cats, and that's what we would be living in the woods. I guess better than in a van down by the river, if anybody gets that analogy. But over the weekend, we posted last week, and I posted in all honesty, not to have anybody feel sorry for us, but just to put the idea out there that not only us, but everybody's hurting in this housing market all across, because the people that have it are selling it off, and the people that don't have it are not doing very well. And we're not the only ones. So it's not a bitch, gripe, or complaint on my part. But somebody suggested we do it. And lo and behold, somebody who has followed us and knows the kind of work we do called us up, and we've made a tentative deal for a relocation of something that is suitable for them, suitable for us, and within a budget that everybody's going to be happy with. So it's going to work out. We're happy. And it's a good thing. We're not giving out all the details in any way, shape, or form right now, because we still have to work out some of the details. But when you do good work, sometimes it does come back and help you out a bit. So I appreciate the compliments, Mr. Alvin. Your event is fun. I truly am sorry I can't be a part of it this year, but I will tell you this, a real matter of respect. When we talked a month or so ago, and I told you I just wasn't going to be able to do it, you actually said, and I may not get all the exact words right, but you actually said this will have no infringement on our friendship. That meant an awful lot to me, an awful lot. So I want to help you. That's why we're doing this night. And then when the Ren Fair comes up, and what are the dates of your Ren Fair? They can go to the website. We've got it there. But the dates of your Ren Fair are
the first Saturday in November.
First Saturday in November, and runs all the way into December, right?
Yeah, it goes 6 weekends, middle of December.
So what we're going to do is do another episode with you and talk about the Ren Festival and give you some more plugs and do what we can. And maybe even let's get your kids involved. I'd love to have them on the show with us if they'd like to do it.
I'm sure they would love that.
Yeah, let's get them involved, and we'll talk about doing something for you in, let's say, October, and we'll look at the dates to see what's going on.
I'm just looking at it. So our first day is November 5th. So anybody that wants to come down, if you come down to Renfest a week early, you get to go to New Orleans for Halloween, which is a special treat.
Ah, there you go. Well, we have to put that in the calendar and see what we can do. So it's just a lot of fun to have people that we know and love, and that brings us to another point of our show, and that is this, Mr. Longwood. I'm trying to make there we go. That's where we're stand at now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 195 subscribers. We're only five away from 200 subscribers, and that's YouTube subscribers. So go to our YouTube channel, send it off to everybody else, and get some subscribers. I'd love to go over 200 this week. We have 4 sponsors right now, and I have 2 more in the wings that would like to be sponsors. The sponsorship is not that expensive, and we'd love to have you be a sponsor of the show. We use Patreon, and our Patreon, we have 5 First Mate members that are on Patreon. They're just supporters, and they get to be labeled as a First Mate. And by being the First Mate, they get one of these. And Mr. Longwood will probably show them to you, but I'll show them to you in my fingers too. The back and the front of a coin right there, ladies and gentlemen. It is a $100 poker chip. It's not worth $100, so don't take it to Vegas and try to win with it. It's not worth $100, but it is a black $100 poker chip with our symbol and our sign-off verbs on it, and we'll send that to you. We have 5 of those, and those people actually use their credit card, and we get $5 a month for however long they want to do it. And I believe it's set up for a year. So, and our podcast in May at the Humane Society is a go. No date or venue for fundraiser set yet due to scheduling issues. So we'll be doing something in May, again for the Humane Society. We're big lovers of them, and we'll do whatever we can to help them out. So if you become a $5 sponsor, we're going to give you one of those coins. We'll mail it to you, or I'll give it to you in person, or tell you to come down and have a drink with good Captain William Mayhem, and we'll have a drink. Show us the sponsor and charity page, Mr. Longwood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool to show that off. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's all the sponsors or parts of the show: Dick's Wings, Paper and Strings, St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum, the Colonial Quarter, Ancient City Sirens, Shiver Me Pictures, and then our charities, Inc., St. Augustine Youth Services, Pirates in Training, and we'll be adding one more to that. We're going to put the Humane Society on that for 4 charities that we do work for. So that's a good thing. We have a couple more sponsors that we're looking at adding to all that, and we're doing well. We are averaging right around 3,000 views on all of our, this is our 26th episode. So at the end of the time, this show will download right to our YouTube channel, and we have 26 episodes on YouTube, and we're getting about 3,000 viewers on the recorded versions of our show on a weekly basis. So we're doing really well. So let's take a few minutes. I know we went over the time, but let's take a few minutes. And of course, I have to do this. And since Alvin did it, I don't feel bad now. I got to put some glasses on too. I can't see without him anymore. But let's go and look at some of our comments. I was so into having conversation with Alvin there that I kind of let some of it go by the wayside. But let's see if we got anything that really looks cool. Let's see. Favorite part is visiting friends. I have to agree with that. Visiting friends. Because sometimes these festivals, Alvin, you know this. Sometimes these festivals, you don't see any of these friends, but once a year.
Yeah, that's true. I know, especially after COVID, there was a lot of that going on. I haven't seen it in, it's been a while.
Yeah, that's it. Very good. So let's see. We had Jonathan Miller on. That's good. Nightingale in Florida. Adam, a certain is going to smack you for saying that. Somebody's going to smack old Adam. That's good. Let's see. Captain's Quarters Podcast. Ahoy, watchers. Navigator Longwood, welcome you on board. Oh, very good, Davey. I didn't see that you could do that without me not knowing it. Very good. Hey, I better watch out to see what my crew's doing behind my back now. We did cover that. The vendor selling Pirate Guard. And let's see. And my own CC telling me that we need to go back there so she can go. She says it looks very beautiful. Pop up one more good picture. One of those good viewing pictures of the whole place. Let everybody see just how great it is.
I just can't stop staring at that. That is just beautiful.
That is a great picture, and that's not. I mean, that scene is all around the lake. How many structures do you have on the property now, Alvin? Do you know?
I don't know, 70. I don't know.
That's pretty good, 70, and there it is right there. So
yeah, every roof you see in this picture is actually a building, and they drew it to look a little bit like it. Everything but the ship. We had to take the ship out.
But it's hey, you had a mermaid shoot there too, or no, it was a dragon shoot with a mermaid in it. Yeah, it was that was fun too. I didn't get a video of that, darn it. So looks like we had a great crowd tonight. I don't see anything that I missed. We did pretty good. Alvin, you have the floor for just a minute or two more. You want to say anything? Anything at all?
Well, if you know anybody that can come out to the Pirate Festival, send them out, because it looks like our Saturday, we're one weekend. It's going to rain Saturday, so if you know anybody can send out Sunday. We're just trying to get through a year or two so get this thing launched. I know we got the advantage of having the Renaissance Festival behind us, but we still want the Pirate Festival to continue for a long time if we can. It kind of has to stand on its own to some degree.
Right.
Pretty quick. Because my wife is starting to finances now, and she's like, look, if it's not working.
Yeah, and if she's got the purse strings, you got to pay attention to that. So the Renaissance Festival has been in existence this is your 22nd year?
Yes, this will be our 22nd season. Yes.
Very good. And second season for the Pirate Festival. There's all kinds of things that we can do. You can take this video, Alvin, when it goes to YouTube. And Mr. Longwood, correct me if I'm wrong, but he could actually go and get the link off of YouTube, and then he can use this to advertise to any of his people in any way, shape, or form, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so Alvin, if you want to use it, you have our permission to download it and play it anywhere you want. Log that link into your website if you want, and let people see what we're doing, and then maybe they'll pay attention and they'll come in for our next episode with you, which will be in October sometime. But it's yours to use how you want.
No, thank you.
Right? No worries, no worries. My friends that are doing things the same way as I am in the pirate world, I want them to be successful. So that's a good thing. I had one other thought in my head, and then it just went right out my head. So I guess that means it wasn't that important. But it's a good event you have, Mr. Alvin, and it's a pleasure to help you out in any way, shape, or form that I can. So if there's anything else that we can do down the road, please let me know. I'd be happy to use our venue here to help you out in other ways. And who knows, you might come up with a great idea. Nightingale in Florida, here's one. A ball to honor Jean Lafitte.
All right.
That would be a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good theme for it. That's a really good idea. Wow. I like that idea. And Nightingale in Florida is part of my crew. I'm going to have to push her for some ideas for our crew now, too.
Well, I don't know how many people are familiar with Jean Lafitte, but he's basically the pirate that won the Battle of New Orleans for the United States. Not everybody realizes that, but basically it was him that did it. America was pretty much out of gunpowder and out of manpower, and
we're going to do an episode on that, believe it or not. And maybe we'll do the episode because we're going to do an episode on Thomas Jefferson and the Pirates of Tripoli. And then we're going to do another episode on Andrew Jackson and the Pirates of Jean Lafitte in New Orleans. We have those two episodes planned, and I'm trying to work them out that we run those episodes close to the anniversary dates of those two events.
okay.
So we've got those worked out. Maybe the one for Jean Lafitte and the Battle of New Orleans will work out close to your Renaissance Festival or work out close to the Pirate Festival. I'll have to double check on the dates of those for the anniversary.
Him and his little-known brother, Pierre Lafitte.
Pierre Lafitte. John and Pierre Lafitte. So, good episode. I think we did really well. We only went over by 7 minutes, but as I tell Mr. Longwood, it's our show. We can do what we want. Isn't that right, Mr. Longwood?
Aye, Captain. Anything we want.
Anything we want, we're pirates. And I do want to say one thing, because I neglected to say anything about Mr. Hellfire. He wasn't here tonight. He was feeling a bit under the weather. He probably had a bit of the scurvy, and he needed to rest. And so we let him off the hook, no pun intended, and allowed him to get some rest because he's got a hard job doing what he's doing once in a while. So it's been a great episode. I hope everybody, if you guys ever need a pirate host with Twinkie Boy gets himself sick, I'm here. Okay, so if Twinkie Boy gets himself sick, we've got Adam, who can't see the forest for the trees, literally.
The whole mermaid versus fish thing could be problematic for him, huh?
Yeah, that's it. So it's been a good episode. I think we can go ahead and, Mr. Longwood, I had a good time, so we'll just do it without Mr. Hellfire. Go ahead.
Part of the podcast, part of the crew.
Always, we welcome each and every member of our crew, online crew. We're thanking everybody for being here. Alvin, it was a great time to get to speak to you. I hope that we helped you out a little bit. And if not, we'll keep doing it. Cheers to you, and cheers to our crew. And we are now out of here with 1 minute and 9. Cheers to all.